very happy you're all here on this beautiful Christmas morning. And I chuckled to myself when we woke up this morning and I looked out the window, and I guess we did get a white Christmas, although it was fog. Yeah. So here we are, Christmas 2023. Christmas 2023, it's incredible to me. And we read from the gospel today, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, at risk of getting too theological or philosophical or esoteric here, I just want to say that the word that's used, the capital word, so the written word, is through which we confront the living Word, Jesus Christ. And so the word that is used as word that we just read is, in Greek, it's logos. It's the logic that is behind everything. It is the organizing principle of everything. And the organizing principle behind everything is God. This God, a God of self-giving, a God of mercy, a God of love, of God who took on human flesh to show his mercy for us, to assure us, I am with you. I am with you in the midst of everything you are going through. I am with you. And is the world not a little bit noisy as we bring 2023 to a close? As I mentioned in my homily yesterday, we live in a world filled with economic certainty. We live in a world where there's more wars going on in the world today than there has been in my lifetime. We're living in a world of rapid change. We're living in a world, now this boggles me how it's happening. I thought we as a human people were getting better at this, but we're living in a world where there seems to be an exponential growth in hate. And we're living in a world where, as we speak in this comfortable corner of the world, there's over 110 million people displaced by warfare. It's staggering. And amid the news feeds, the podcasts, the YouTube channels, it's hard to know how to parse out truth from the lies or facts from fiction. So how do we, in the midst of this noisy world, how do we rediscover the true meaning of Christmas? I think it starts by all of us asking ourselves this really simple question. Why are you here? Why are you here today? What are you looking for? Because if you had been looking for the perfect gift for that special person, or the perfect decorations, or the perfect wrapping paper, or the perfect tree, or the perfect meal to host your friends, this is all good stuff. These are not bad things. But the first Christmas was far from any notion of perfection that we might have in our comfortable Western world. The first Christmas, we read about the poverty of a young couple, a pregnant woman and her husband who couldn't find a place to lay their heads, the smell of barn animals, stinky shepherds showing up uninvited. Who wants that to happen on Christmas Day in your perfect house with your perfect gifts and your perfect wrapping paper and your perfect meal? Stinky shepherds. The God of the Bible came into a mess to show us the way home, to show us how to heal, to show us how to be free in our humanity. The world was a mess 2,000 years ago. The people of Israel were overrun by the madness of the Roman Empire. The world was a mess 2,000 years ago, and the world is still a mess. God didn't have to come into this mess. God didn't have to come into this mess. God chose to come into the mess of our suffering, the mess of injustice. And in our own personal lives, the same can be said. God embraces your mess. God is with you in your fear. Whatever is going on in your life right now, the hurt, the pain, the suffering, the sense of injustice, the outrage, the commercialism, whatever it is, just know that God is in the midst of it with you. Many times we hide our mess from other people. Many times we hide our mess from God. But this Christmas, why don't we take a moment just in the quiet recesses of our own heart? Listen, if you don't know how to pray, it's okay. The simplest of prayer starts with just an honest dialogue in the quiet recesses of your own conscience to express what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing to God. Are you worried? Are you fearful that a loved one may die? Are you fearful of your own health? Are you tired of this addiction that you can't seem to break the pattern of? Just know that God has come in human form to assure you that he is with you always. So allow God to enter into the messiness of your own life. But this takes humility. It takes courage to invite God to come into the mess. How's your marriage? How are things going? I hear a lot of confessions in the run of a year, and I hear a lot of husbands confess the sins of their wives. I hear a lot of wives confess the sins of their husbands. How are things going? Have an honest conversation with your loved ones around your relationship. How are you doing? How are your relationships? Christmas is just not about God becoming one with us. It is, of course, the incarnation, God coming. Incarnation, the very word incarnation. Think of chili con carne. Con carne just means con, with, carne, meat. It's God coming in flesh, God with us in the flesh, in us. It's also, of course, about allowing God to become one with us. It's about cultivating the interior disciplines of learning to abide with He who is with us. By sharing in our humanity, God has opened the door for us to share in His divinity. Now, in a couple of moments, and at every Mass, when the priest puts some wine into the chalice, he also puts in just a drop of water. And he says these words, "By the mystery of this water and wine, may we come to share in the divinity of Christ, who humbled himself to share in our humanity." Do you see this exchange of the beauty and the awe and the self-giving, merciful love of God coming into our human condition, that He elevates humanity to participate in the divine life. By being born into our world, He has provided a way for us to become children of God. By entering into our mess, He has shown us the path of radical transformation. The question, however, is, are we willing to take God up in His offer? Are we willing to say yes? Those among us who are embroiled in these patterns of brokenness and sin and whatever else you got going on, will you allow God's mercy to penetrate into your hearts? Because we don't worship a coercive God who's going to force His way in. We worship a God who came as a vulnerable child. What is less coercive than an infant child? This Christmas season, let us welcome Jesus anew into the mess of our lives. Let us allow Him to embrace us in our mess as we embrace Him. Let us allow Him to transform us slowly but surely. Let us allow Him to find a home in our mess. So what are you looking for? God is with you. the Word, the Logos, the organizing principle behind it all, God's merciful love is with you. Turn to him. Amen.